Hello, everybody. Just a little bit of housekeeping before I start. I set up the live, and for whatever reason, it's also decided to set up the vertical, like the little one, if you're watching on your phone. So if you can currently see just Enzo and I side by side in a little square, it means you're on the vertical feed. I might not see any comments. But I do still see them. So there you go. There is comment in both on this one. Hi, Anna. But yeah, if you have difficulty seeing anything, you have to go to and I don't know how to do that, but you have to go to the YouTube, like the big thing. So who knows what I've done. Hi, Cheryl. Hello. What's the weather like where you are, Cheryl? It's been raining here for the last few days, which is good because my garden and grass are green, green, green. So Enzo's here with me today, which is good. What's the weather like where you are, Enzo?
Had a bit of a weather scare a couple of days ago here, our first tornado of the season, and it was kind of heading straight for me. The sirens went off, the whole spiel, and then it kind of petered out about 5 miles that way. And we didn't even get hail or anything where I live, but there were certainly tornadoes on the ground with it. So it was like, whew.
Oh gosh. Have you got, where you live, do you have ability to escape into some kind of bunker or something?
I have a basement, and typically what you do is, like the really bad tornadoes approach from the southwest and move to the northeast. Those are, and in that corner of my basement, I have like a big heavy workshop bench and all that stuff where it's got a little area that I can take one of my old Kevlar helmets and hide underneath of that. So if anything collapses, I'll be okay.
Oh gosh, no, you can keep that. I hate wind, full stop. The rain and a bit of wind when you've got a rainstorm, but the minute you hear things rattling and everything, which we get here, if we get the tail end of a cyclone or something, we do get strong winds here. But I hate it. I think that's one of my worst nightmares, like what you have to go through. I couldn't live in an area where I had to worry about tornadoes unless my house was completely built underground, which I would probably do if I lived in Kansas. I'd get someone, an excavator, to come along, dig a big hole. I'll put my house, put the dirt over top, you beaut.
Not a bad idea. I would also live underground if that was the case. But
yeah. Well, at least you keep cool in summer and warm in winter, so it's all good. Yeah, me too. Perfect. Yeah, me too, Cheryl. We'll just have a bit of a chin wag and give an opportunity for a few more people to pop on in.
When the tornadoes come, you know you're close when your ears pop because the pressure changes. You're like, oh, this is real. Because typically when the sirens go off in Kansas, any self-respecting Kansas, as soon as they hear the siren, the first thing they do is grab their phone and run outside and start filming the sky to see if you can get a cool shot of it. It was like midnight when it went through the other night. So, and actually the sirens went off where I live by accident. They weren't supposed to go off. The county just south of me put off all of their stuff because they did have a confirmed tornado on the ground. But yeah, I'm fine. I've seen them.
Oh, well, good. So. I just saw Anna lives in Colorado. Yeah. And whenever I hear that name, I always think of what was his name? Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. What was his name?
John Denver.
John Denver, that's it.
Bob Denver was Gilligan.
Yeah, Bob Denver was Gilligan. Oh dear. Someone passed away the other day, and I was and I went, oh well, Paul Anka passed away, and I loved Paul Anka. I used to have his records. I'm not old enough to have had his original records. But I'm old enough to like, he was still singing the big hits. And of course he sang Calendar Girl. And I remember the movie, what's the name? I think there's a movie with, now hang on, here she goes again, losing her. There's a movie about a serial killer with see his
I don't
face.
know.
It's a movie about a serial killer, and I think it's called Calendar Girl. Wait a minute, and because that song is a clue in the movie. And if anyone wants to watch a movie, hang on a second. Wait a minute, you might have seen it. Calendar Girl, serial killer movie. What was it bloody called? No, not that. Oh, come on. It's the
It's
only
not ringing
movie.
a bell with me.
No, it's true. All right. The actor. Here we go. Karen's got dementia. The actor has got dark hair, and in this movie he had a mustache. He's was in. Don't know. Oh, listen.
I can't help you. I wish I could.
No, I'm not going to stop now. Killer, if anyone else knows what I'm talking about, feel free to pop it in. A serial killer uses Calendar Girl song to murder. Like City's murders. Oh. The January Man. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, The January Man. That was the name of the movie, and I'll show you a picture. Oh, there it is. There it is. But there it is. Where is it? There it is. How do I make this bigger? Oh, come on. I can't. Hang on. Let's see if you can see it. See, this is what happens when I can totally forget what I'm talking about. Hang on. The picture might not be big enough. But it's Kevin Kline. Kevin Kline, Susan Sarandon, Mary Elizabeth Masterson, Harvey Keitel, Danny Arello, and Rod Steiger. It is a really good movie, okay, people? Really good. That's it. Yeah, very good movie. But there you go. Hang on. I don't know. Where'd that come from? Oh, because I was talking about poor old Paul Anka dying. But yes, look it up. The January Man. It's made in the 80s or whatever. But yeah, no, it's really good. It's very good. What was I going to say? Yeah, I know, but I get it all the time. I'll start talking about something and then I go blank. Like Kevin Kline's one of my favourite actors. I haven't seen him around. How old would he be now? I better Google it.
We'll talk about dementia with another one of my stories a little later. So.
There he is, Kevin Kline. How old are you now, mate? Oh, he's only 78. He's only 78. I don't know. I keep every now and then it's kind of like, oh no, who's going to drop next? And here in Australia, we had a television show back in the 70s called The Sullivans, and a lot of big actors now. Mel Gibson was on The Sullivans. It was a weekly serial on the television, and it was all set in World War II, right? So Mel Gibson was in it. Only a short role for him. Sam Neill was in it. Who else? Oh, tons of actors actually, but they're the two that come to mind at the moment. Well, the lady in it who played Mrs. Sullivan, she passed away, I think yesterday or the day before. So for any Aussies watching, poor old Mrs. Sullivan has gone to meet her maker. And it's always sad when you realise they've died in a nursing home. So she passed away in a care facility. And I think, oh, bugger, because I don't know, you remember them as was, I guess, but there you go. What's this one? I have what I call FAD dementia, facility-acquired dementia. I have dementia just through stress, acquired by children. Have children, we'll have stress, we'll get dementia. Oh, dear. I hope I don't get dementia. Can you imagine me? I'm bad enough as it is. But that's all right. I've left strict instructions. There we go. We've got more people watching than we normally do, Enzo. Should we get started?
Yep, I guess we should entertain the folks since they didn't bother to show up.
Look, if anyone saw the thumbnail, I thought the quickest thing to deal with, because I really want to talk about the sun and all that sort of thing with Enzo. But I just wanted to say, just as a side note, I guess, the world's going crazy. So over in the UK, I've got a couple of little news snippets. But in the UK, they're starting now in certain areas of a certain how do we put it politely without getting in trouble? A certain ethnic background, would that be a good way of putting it? Apparently does not like dogs. And I thought, mentioned this to Enzo, I think last week, wasn't it, Enzo? I did mention this, and Enzo thought, and I kind of thought, oh, maybe it's all a bit of BS, you know, but apparently not. So in the UK now, in areas of a high build-up of a certain ethnic religious background, they're putting signs up everywhere saying no dogs allowed, don't walk your dog here, no dogs allowed. We, this particular background of people, do not like dogs. This is a primarily, I've got to say, I have to say the word, this is a primarily Muslim area. We don't like dogs, don't walk your dogs here, don't want to see them. So now, here, I'll just play this so you know I'm not jiving. I'm not jiving. Oh, that's an old word, isn't it? Jiving. Jive talking.
Okay, I speak jive, so.
You speak, oh, yeah.
The airplane joke, which is great.
Yeah, it reminds me of that movie. What was it called? Flying high. You called it Airplane, yeah. So I'll just play the start of this. Let me know if you can hear it.
Andrew Allison from Popular Conservatives. Andrew, yeah, this is causing a hell of a row where I live. The council, as I say, essentially is proposing whole areas of parks will be, not only will you not be able to allow your dog to run free off the lead, which does apply to quite a lot of areas already, but you won't be allowed to take your dog at all. And what the critics are saying, this is because Muslims don't like dogs. This is, it's no wonder, as I keep saying in my hilarious tabloid way, it's no wonder that pet lovers in my area are barking mad about this.
I'm barking mad about this. So that's happening, right? And it is happening. There's plenty of other stuff you can see out there where it's already happened in certain areas. But I was first alerted to it by watching, hang on, let me say, go away, Ruth, stop screen. This little one, this is, actually I'm trying, I don't think Kristen, oh yes she is, Kristen's here. Kristen watches the Travelling Clat as well, and this is his little thing on it. And then we'll discuss.
The leader of the pro-Palestine movement and protests in New York, Nurdin Kiswani, is now calling for a ban on dogs as pets in the city. NYC is coming to Islam. Dogs definitely have a place in society, just not as indoor pets. Like we all said, they are unclean. So take a decision. Take a decision on what you'd like to see, because the reality is, in many Muslim countries, dogs are not accepted. Here's Congressman Randy Fine. If they force us to choose the choice between dogs and Muslims, it is not a difficult one. For context, this is the leader of one of the key mainstream Muslim groups that supported Mamdani, which, again, we're not surprised of. Do I think Mamdani is anti-dog? No, I think Mamdani is a whore for views. I think he'll do anything to make people happy.
Oops. But that's okay. I feel like that way about him too. Yeah, so that caused, and you heard that statement, if it comes between a choice between dogs and Muslims, and that fellow was in Congress the other day, and people said, oh, you're racist and you're this and you're that. And I'm thinking, no, I don't care who it is. Maybe he could have used a different words if it comes down to a choice between a human and my dog. I'm picking my dog. But I'm like, it caused such a fuss. And that's when I started saying, oh, is this real? And I've looked into it, and it's real, and it's because of their religion. It's because of their religion.
It's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And because I can speak from a little experience here. In 2007, I spent about almost 7 months in Iraq working with the Iraqi Air Force, teaching them how to fly helicopters. So worked very closely with the folks that lived there. And they were terrified of basically wild dogs, because there were packs of wild dogs just running amok over the whole countryside. Now, on site, they would like run and scream and be in a total panic at just seeing a dog. Whereas like the Americans would be like, oh, hey, buddy, what are you doing? Come here. They're like, what are you doing? It's a wild dog. It could eat you. It's like, what are you talking about? This guy just wants a treat. So just two very different ideas of the same thing and how they approach it, which I could understand. If you've got packs of wild dogs running around and you're by yourself, you might be in a little danger, which is kind of what the view was that I saw. Because there was certainly, like, I saw a guy, there was one of the guys that we worked with, one of the translators, just running down the street as fast as he could. And it's like, what's going on? And we're driving by in a truck, like, what are you doing? You need a ride? What's going on? Are you late for something? He's like, no, there's dogs. I mean, like, look, way back, and there's two like very small dogs kind of like walking around behind. They were kind of, they were following him just to see if maybe he would drop something to eat or something like that. It wasn't like they were attacking him or chasing him, really. They were just kind of walking behind him. But actually, full-blown fan.
Anna has got a good question, because I too was thinking the same thing. Anna, why are there so many dogs just running around? What do they do? Just kick the dogs around? They have puppies, and that's why they're running around?
Yep.
Okay, so kind of like,
because it's not like you're seeing specific breeds or anything like that. They're all wild mutts.
Well, I know when I was in Vietnam, I was in Ho Chi Minh City, and I know that there's a lot of dogs running around there. Some of them I think have escaped, because you can see they've chewed off their ropes. Like, very weird though, because you and most people watching know that when we see a dog, our instinct is, oh, and if it doesn't want to talk to you, it'll go and you back off. These dogs, all of the dogs I saw, I think there would have been about 10. I gave up in the end, because I would be walking to where I had to go, and I'd see a dog, and I'd go, oh, buddy, and it'd cower and just run. All of them did it, and I thought, but then of course I don't think I don't quite. I've kind of got the feeling that dogs aren't loved like.
I'm pretty sure Vietnam, I'm pretty sure they eat them there. I think
they do.
Food, so
they do. Well, not in Ho Chi Minh City, I'm told, but that doesn't mean that they don't. But yeah, I was just very, very surprised. And yes, Kirsten, Muslims believe dogs are unclean and drive the angels from your home and take away blessings. Yeah. And that's the thing I did find out. I watched a few videos where, do they call them amans, like the priests, the Muslim priests? Yeah. Amans, just sort of discussing, we don't want to wish harm on any animals or anything, but dogs are unclean, and you're not to have them in your home because it interferes with your blessings, etc. If you've got them as a working dog, like a sheep dog, that's okay, or a guard dog, that's okay. But other than that, no, they're not allowed to be pets. And I thought, fair enough. And I'm thinking, fair enough, if that's how you feel, but you shouldn't, as sort of like Cheryl was saying here, if you are in someone else's country where dogs are an accepted part of one's family, really, well, you came to that country, you should have known that. So do what you want to do in your home. I don't know what the answer is. If you're scared of dogs, don't go walking in a dog park, or at least come to the thing. Look, if you take your dog to the park, please make sure it's on the lead. That's it, just in case because they do act frightened of dogs as well. And I guess And that's what works in with the fact that they've been raised to believe that dogs are unclean and take away your blessings. So I guess even if they come into, I'm thinking, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing if they come into contact with a dog, that too might have some kind of, thing. Yeah, look, I had no idea too until just recently, but it's a thing. There was such backlash though in New York City from people, because New York City, I mean, how many movies do you have to watch where you see snobby nosed ladies walking around with their poodles in their bags? New York City is the dog, like people have dogs. So there was backlash. So I would assume for the moment that's not going to happen. But then who would have thought that it would happen in the UK? It's happening in the UK. You are not, in certain parts, dogs just aren't allowed. But mind you, the UK, I don't think they have dog. Do they have dog parks in New York City? Surely they do.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain areas, I think, like in Central Park and things like that, where you can take your dogs.
Yeah, in like when I was in, I sound like a jet setter, don't I? When I was in Hyde Park, and I was near Kensington Gardens. When I was there was tons of people walk their dogs through Hyde Park, Kensington Gardens, all around there, tons. So I don't think it's hit London, but it's certainly hidden in certain towns that have become primarily Muslim towns. So I guess there's arguments on both sides, I suppose, but it's just dog is man's best friend. So you can't threaten people to take away their best friend. A lot of people don't have human friends. A lot of people have just dogs or cats, but usually a dog. A dog is your best friend, and you only have them for a short amount of time before they go. So, So Colorado has. I know they're everywhere in California. We even have dog parks here. I don't take my dog though, because I'm still worried. Even if I take it to the dog park, it'll get into a fight. So I'm very protective of my Muffin, the Rottweiler. I'm sure she could look after herself, but she has been in a fight. She did get attacked by 2 dogs when I was walking her. The other 2 dogs were off of their lead. They broke off. Like, they weren't off initially, but they saw her and they pulled and broke off their leads and attacked my dog. So it's, pretty scary. Yeah, and assistance dogs. I mean, they're brilliant.
Are dingoes still a thing down there in Australia?
Oh, we've got plenty of dingoes, but look, in certain places in Australia, there will be people that have dingoes as pets. Oh. I'm not sure what the law is, to be honest. Cheryl might know. I think you have to have a particular license if you want to keep a dingo as a pet, because dingoes, it'd be like trying to keep a wolf as a pet.
Right.
They're a bit different. They've still got that instinct, and they've got. I don't know the proper details here. I don't have them in front of me, but I do know that their jaw, like their jaws, can open quite wide. That's why I remember a dingo took my baby. It probably bloody well did, because a dingo, a little young baby that was only a few weeks old, I think, the little one, or Aria, she might have been a couple of months old. Easy for a dingo, I think. Look, I don't know. Quite a few pounds they can pick up and just run with. So could they have taken the baby? Absolutely, and I would dare say yes, they did. That was a terrible case. But dingoes, but any dog really, even my dog Muffin, she's a Roddy. When she's playing with me and opens her mouth, I mean, her mouth, dogs can do serious damage. I don't know how I got to that. Oh, that's right, because I was saying Muffin got attacked by dogs, and she still struggled to look after herself because the 2 dogs that attacked her, one was pit bull. And pit bulls, but at the end of the day, a dog is your best friend, and they love you unconditionally, and I have no idea why someone would have written into their teachings that they take away your brownie points to get to the other side, or whatever it is. I don't know how it works exactly, but you lose points or something. But I'm not. I don't care if somebody doesn't like dogs, but they don't tell me I have to not like them, says Kristen. That is a problem. Many of the Muslims are insisting everybody, well, they are, yes, but they can insist all they like. It's not going to happen. Cheryl, is that the case? Because I thought she drowned. Yeah, just recently, Enzo, a young Canadian girl was on an island. Name of the island escapes me, but it's an island where you can go camping and there's dingoes everywhere. You are warned about camping there, like make sure you do certain things when you're asleep, zip up your tent, all that sort, because they're wild dogs. They're hungry. All right. But a young Canadian girl was found dead on the beach. And the autopsy report came out yesterday. Is that what you're referring to, Cheryl? And I thought she drowned, but you probably read it. But yeah, she was found surrounded by dingoes. I guess. It was it? Yeah. And all those dogs, all those dingoes were terminated. And if that's the case, they have to be, because they've actually attacked and killed a human being, which means that they'd do it again. That's sad. I don't know why. I thought they said she had drowned, and it was a coincidence that the dingoes were around her. But poor girl. Poor girl. But yeah, so dingoes are quite dangerous, and yes, we do have them. But it'd be like going into your forest and seeing a pack of wolves. If I saw a pack of wolves, as much as I love animals, I'd think, oh, Jesus, I'm cactus, because, yeah, you don't want to, get eaten by a wolf. Still, like I say, an interesting death.
I was just curious, like where it was on the scale. Was it closer to the wolf side, or more like a coyote, where it's just kind of a smaller?
Oh no, about the size of. Maybe about the size of a coyote, a dingo.
It's more aggressive.
Just a regular dog, kind of the same size. A large dog, but not super large. Like, I'm trying to think.
Because coyotes are generally a little smaller.
German Shepherd size.
Okay, yeah, that's a large dog. Yeah, coyotes are a little smaller than that, and generally are kind of skittish around people. They generally avoid people, but they will certainly, if they think you can't see them, they will walk right up next to you.
Here we go. I found Cheryl, I just found that authorities say that Canadian Piper James died from drowning due to a dingo attack on Kagari Beach in January. Ms. James drowned after sustaining multiple injuries due to or as a consequence of a dingo attack. All right, so she must have, I'm guessing, let's see, drowning by dingoes has been ruled as the official cause of death of Canadian teenager Piper James. The 19-year-old was found, Fraser Island it's called, on the beach at about 6:30 a.m. on January 19 near a campsite where she lived and worked for about a week before her death. Her body was surrounded by a pack of approximately 10 dingoes, 8 of which have since been euthanised. A spokesman for the Coroner's Court of Queensland said Ms. James died as a result of drowning in the setting of multiple injuries due to or as a consequence of a dingo attack. The investigation into Piper's death is ongoing, and no further information can be provided at this time. So I'm assuming, therefore, she was being attacked by the dingoes, went into the water to escape them, and she's maybe passed out or something. But yeah, so there we go. We were kind of both right, yeah. Hello, Shape. Shape pops in, he pops out. Do you ever feed the coyotes, Shape? John? Shape? I can call you John. I just wondered, if I had coyotes living around me, I think I'd want to be friendly to them so they didn't eat me. So I do the same.
The thing is, with something like it's generally a bad idea because then they become habituated to being fed. And if you take off for like a week of vacation and you're not there to feed them, then they can get aggressive and do crazy stuff, where they may not be as friendly the next time they see you. Which is actually a good idea for any kind of wild animal. Is you generally shouldn't feed any kind of wild animal, because then if it gets used to making its rounds, going from house to house and getting a snack at each one, then it's not going to bother to try and hunt for its own food or deal with things like that. And over a long period of time, they can actually lose that sense of foraging and hunting for their own food, because they're getting free handouts
right,
everywhere they
Debbie.
go.
All right, Debbie. Okay. All right, Debbie.
I got it.
You got it? That's it. Debbie Downer. I mean, at the end of the day, you are right. But I still think if I lived somewhere where I had a brown bear visit my rubbish bin, I had a coyote come past and sniff out the house, I had raccoons living in my roof, squirrels in the trees, half of my food bill would go towards treats. I know I would. I just know I would. I do it here. I've got kookaburras who come down for chicken. Now I've got crows, because they've worked out that I'm feeding the kookaburras. So now the crows come in and get the scraps. Or crows, ravens. That's what you call them over there, isn't it?
Yeah, so
I'm just terrible. But there you go. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, so I just thought I'd mention that about the dogs. I just thought I'd bring that to everyone's attention. Be aware and keep your dogs safe. And just remember to tell people that say that sort of thing. So I don't know why it's getting like that in England. However, I did see their Prime Minister give a speech day before yesterday, I think, where he made it very clear, and you can go find the speech if you like, that so far as the English people are concerned, they're the least of his concern, as is apparently helping the US with anything. We didn't do anything naughty, he says. Karen, when you come to BC, please don't feed the mountain lions. Oh, no, if I see a mountain lion, no. No, even I know a mountain lion is dangerous. They're super cute, but no. But the bear will be out, you see. This is my concern. I think just once, hopefully Taylor isn't listening. She might be able to change my mind when I get there. But just once, I just want to leave a cake on top of the rubbish bin. A cake for the bear. And then you'll be outside, Enzo, in your van.
Yeah.
And when you hear the bear come, you can get some good footage of the bear eating the cake for me.
And clawing its way into the van.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. That's the most I'll do. And, of course, the wild horses, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So, Enzo, I might just show everybody that I've got some video of that the CRAM gun, the
sure.
Gatling gun.
If you had one of those mounted on top of the house, then you wouldn't have to worry about kookaburras coming in or bears or anything else.
Yeah, don't be nasty. I love all my animals. All right, I'll just show you. I don't know if anybody, anyone who hasn't seen anyone who hasn't realised that there is a war going on in Iran, hate to break it to you, but there is. But they were talking about a gun the other day, and I saw a thing, and I thought, oh, wow, a laser? Like, I thought it was a laser, because I just looked at it briefly. I thought it was a laser gun, like it's just a laser that shoots things down. It sort of is, but it's not. The laser is the machine itself gives all the coordinates of everything that's coming in, so usually knocks down the drones. Isn't that right, Enzo? And this is what they look like in action. Where are we? Share screen. I think that's that one. Yeah, share. Put it there. We can see that. I've got the sound up. Check this out. So the laser gives the coordinates of the object that needs to be shot down. So the laser doesn't actually take it down. It's like a Gatling gun, lots and lots of bullets. But check this out.
Like thousands of rounds going out.
And then there's this. This was actually footage taken. Well, this is Bagram. Where's Bagram? Bagram Air Base.
Bagram is in.
Oh,
I don't know. There's so many of them right crowded around there. I forget if that's UAE or somewhere else.
Yeah.
Look at that. All those flashes are contacts, so it's hitting something.
Yeah, like it's pretty crazy.
It's like anti-missile, anti-aircraft, basically anything that's in the air. This thing is just going to disintegrate it.
Yeah, and there was just I'll just play a bit of this because this is a longer video, but just to give you an idea again of what it does, and then I'll stop talking about it. I was just like, wow. And you can see someone's obviously filming this, but it's the noise it makes. It'd be absolutely terrifying. It would be absolutely terrifying. But, you know, there you go. So I just thought someone might be interested in knowing that that's what they're using to shoot down the drones. I had no idea we had anything like that. So there you go. It is a bit scary. And yes, no, I will not pet the murder kitties unless I see a baby one. But then if I see a baby, if I see a baby, you call them bobcats too, don't you?
Well, there's a very different bobcat and a cougar.
No, bobcats are smaller, aren't they?
Yeah, they're much smaller.
Yeah,
but it's still like sticking your hand into a chainsaw. They will shred you up quick.
It's all right. I'll stick to raccoons and bears.
Wasn't there a famous thing like a couple of weeks ago? A girl it was either a bobcat or a lynx or something like that size where it was behind her. It was kind of tracking her, and she like did a selfie thing with it. And then it just mauled her.
Oh no! Did it kill her?
She was fine, but she was pretty banged up. She was pretty shredded up because she was like, it was in the mountains. It was snow on the ground. She was doing like cross country skiing or something like that, and she had a helmet on, which helped protect a lot of her head because it attacked her from behind and just started clawing and all that. But like her face and shoulders and stuff like that got pretty sliced up.
I'm just trying to see if I can. No, nothing pops up immediately. I'd have to search. Oh, I know people. I mean, that actor who went hiking a couple of years ago now, from what was the movie he was in, Highlander? I don't know. The actor who ended up they found his body ages later, but they think that he was possibly taken by a mountain lion. So yeah, no. Even Karen, who loves animals, knows no. Okay, no.
Yeah, I'll mess you up.
Yeah. So Enzo, the sun.
First, I'd like to ask why you ask this question, because the holes in the sun thing, it's always there. It's there a lot.
Yeah, but it's a big one. Like, it's as big as the planet Earth. And then I saw a post by Jim Goodall. Goodall, is that how you say his name? Goodall.
Yep, Jim Goodall.
And he posted it. That's where I saw it, and I'm like, oh my god! And I read it, and it look, it said there's no danger to the Earth, but it did did indicate, which is what I want you to talk about, it did indicate that there'll be some something heading towards the Earth, like a
Right.
and I'm like, oh no, Enzo's nightmare is coming true. So I just thought you could explain what's going on.
Do you want me to share, put up a share, or do you want me to just put it in my screen?
You can put up a share. I should be right. We should be right.
Make sure I do this and this. There we go. Now, this isn't the one that maybe Jim was referring to. This is actually one from a couple of years ago, because there's actually a funny element to it. But you can clearly see on the bottom part there where this what appears to be this hole in the sun. It's not really a hole. What it is if you look all around that hole, you see those brighter spots. Those are actually prominences, which is basically like magnetic storms on the surface of the sun, where you've got your positive, you got your negative, and they get these arcs of energies that go back and forth, and plasma flows along the magnetic streams between them. And when those get like really big and dislodged, that's when you get a solar flare. That's where a solar flare comes from, is if they get really big and crazy. But when you get a swarm, you'll notice around the hole that there's stuff all around it. It kind of pulls matter away from the surface and forms in those little pockets, but that it's pulling away from a certain area that's in the middle, and that it looks like this dark hole in the sun. And what happens is the sun is constantly pushing out particles that it pushes out. It's called the solar wind. Where there's a constant outflow of those solar particles of pressure, basically in space, where it's pushing all of that matter out throughout the whole solar system. And when these holes form up, because the surface of the sun has all these magnetic prominences all around it, that leaves this big area where it's like sort of like putting your thumb over the end of the garden hose and it sprays out really far. It's the same idea. You've got so much of the surface of the sun covered by all these prominences, and then this big open area, that it allows that pressure to shoot out much, much further. And this is NASA's prediction center of what that blast would look like. And to explain what we're looking at, if you look at in the top left, you've got the round part and then like a pie-shaped part. The top part, round part, is like a looking down on top of the solar system, where you've got the sun in the middle, it's a yellow dot. Off to the right is this green spot, that's Earth. And as the sun rotates around, those holes spray out like sprinklers on a merry-go-round, where it forms these big arcs of material. And then in those rare cases where you get like a really big hole, you get, which you can see if you look towards the middle here, here's the blast that came out of that hole that Jim was talking about, and it pushes its way out. Now it missed, the biggest part of it missed Earth, and the fan part to the right is like a cross section. It's like, if instead of looking straight down, this is like what it would look like on the side. So you can see that, here's that same area. It actually goes underneath of the Earth for the most part, a little bit, kind of skirts to the edge of the Earth there. And what would happen with that is you would, even if it was a direct hit for something like this, which is just this burst of solar wind, you would see a slight increase to like the aurora borealis and things like that. So you're not going to see, it's very different than an actual solar flare where there's a very concentrated stream of energy coming out. And just for reference, the lower part, the lower circle, the little wedge shape, that's the velocity. That's how fast that stuff is getting pushed out away from the sun. But we'll switch back to our other thing, and I'll just hit play on this. This is from 2022 because of something kind of funny that comes up with these holes. You can see this is there's a clock there at the bottom that's like every hour is about like 3 or 4 seconds. So this is moving very, very fast. But if you look closely at those two spots that are closer to the middle, there's a third one that pops in, and it kind of looks like a winky smiley face. You're muted, Karen. You're muted. We can't hear what you're saying. But
I was going to say it's very cute, just like the drawings I used to make when I was little.
yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Is
Yeah.
kind of like, hi, I'm the sun.
Hello, son. So I've got a question though, Enzo. If like what you showed before, and as in what Jim was discussing, or showing on his feed, what happens if that is a direct hit and doesn't just fan off to the side?
For solar wind like this one, because we can see we got to wait for it to rotate around. And this is like the prediction part. This is you can see down at the bottom here, the March 5th, 6th, 7th. You can see the dates ticking by up here. So this is a future prediction. So this will hit around like the very edge of it around the 9th or 10th of March. So we've got a few days.
So tomorrow for me.
Right. And but since this is kind of like skirting, it's actually going below and off to, to the right, I guess, as far as, the shot would be. We're going to just get a tail of it. So we might see a slight increase, like in a couple days of aurora activity. So basically, if you have to live pretty far north or pretty far south to see maybe a slight uptick. And if because of the density of it is kind of low, because it really is just like putting your finger over that, water hose where it kind of spurts out really fast. This is much different than like a flare, which is highly concentrated particles coming straight for the Earth, where that has much greater effect on our whole ecosystem.
Would that be
like satellites and stuff like that? This is not.
But a flare, like if it was a flare and it comes straight, they're the ones we're worried about. They're the ones that could put out the power and all that sort of thing.
Right.
Is that
a flare, being direct, a really, really big flare directly aimed at planet where it hits us dead center. You might have loss of satellite. You could have everything from satellites going out to local power grids getting knocked offline and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want to go down the well, you want to Google the Carrington event from 1859, I think it was, where a massive one, like the biggest ever noticed or recorded by man, hit the Earth. And 1859, the closest we had to anything like our internet today would have been telegraph lines running across the US and Europe and things like that. And
didn't something also happen a lot because the telegraph lines were put in the railway lines? That's how they got them from town to town. So is it true that when that happened, the Carrington thing, that they would have had to have replaced all the railway tracks, wouldn't they? Like it would have been a massive mess, or would it have just been all the telegraph wire that had to replace?
It would have been with the Carrington event, some of the insulation on the wires was getting melted and dripped off. Obviously, you would have had to replace that. A lot of the substations. I don't know what to do. It's probably me. I don't know. I can't. I'm only a few feet from the sun. Look, so it's
I think it's Cheryl because I can't hear anything. Okay. It's you, Cheryl.
But anyways, during the Carrington event, also the substations where the actual telegraph offices were, some of those were like bursting into flames. Some of them, there was so much power being basically all of the miles and miles of telegraph wire were acting like an antenna. And all of these positive and negative charged particles that had been thrown out by the sun were interacting with the magnetosphere of the Earth and basically acting sort of like an electromagnetic pulse, which if people are familiar with that, and interfering with the internet of the day, the telegraph system, and other things. It's because there were railroad tracks. There's stories of railroad tracks in I think it was Northern Ireland, where the timbers underneath the tracks, because all the tracks are bonded together. That's actually how you would run telegraph wires. Instead of having miles and miles of wires, you just run it through the actual tracks themselves. Now you've got miles long, solid steel structures that are acting like a giant antenna, so to speak, from these energies raining down on it. and it was actually catching the timbers underneath of the railroad tracks on fire. So it was a big deal. And if that type of thing were to happen today,
we'd be
I
buggered.
mean, satellites have certain protections built into them, but a direct hit like that, I don't know how many would actually survive. Not to mention the power grid as we have it, which is shoddy at best for a lot of areas, where if it starts blowing up transformers and stuff like that, you know, you might get away with losing a couple in a district or a county or a state, and you might be able to recover. But if you're talking about all of them all at once getting fried, it's going to be years to replace all of them.
But that means everything, like we'd basically go back to 1859. We need our little lanterns.
We'll go back to we won't go back to the Stone Age. That's like all the alarmist thing to say. No, we'd go back to the Old West.
We'll go back to, we'll have to, but horses will become expensive again. And yeah. Oh, look, there you go. A compliment. Watch out.
Oh.
Yeah. Watch out when we go to Virginia City, Enzo. Kirsten might make a move.
Might be a knock at the van. I'm going to drive away. But yeah, that's what the hole in the sun is. It's merely a smiley face. Don't panic.
Okay. Well, very good. So we don't have to worry. It's not at the end of the world. And
no, for something like that, because it's literally cosmic wind. It's not like a lightning strike. Well, if we're going to put it on a weather scale, these are certainly high winds, and you will see different effects from it. But it's not like a hurricane or a tornado or something like that, which is what you would equate to, an actual solar blast like we've been talking about from the Carrington event.
Now, I did want to touch on if anything new has happened with disclosure for UFOs and all that. And excuse me for saying UFOs. It's just the UAPs or whatever. What are they called? How do they say it now? UAPs.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAP. Yeah. Basically, that encompasses everything. You've got UFO has the stigma of little green men and spaceships and blah, blah, blah. UAP is supposed to encompass other things that might be weird in the sky that aren't necessarily spaceships or aliens.
Yeah, well, they can stick that where the sun don't shine. Yeah. I'm going to continue to say UFO. I mean, everyone knows what UFO means. It means unidentified flying object, and boom, that's it. The UAP, I always forget how to say it. If it's AUP, UAP, and then I think, everybody, it's the same thing. If you see something in the sky, you don't necessarily know what it is, then it's unidentified, isn't it? And it's flying because it's in the sky, and it's an object. Duh. So explain it. But I don't know. I'm just old. My name is Karen.
But as far as other related things to UFOs that have been happening, this is like a week and a half old now. But they still have not found former, retired General William Neal McCaslin, who's turned up missing from about almost a week and a half ago down in New Mexico. He's 68. Kind of looks like that back in the day and that today. Why is this of interest to UFO stuff? Yeah, during the WikiLeaks exposure from, I think it was 2016, when all of the Clinton emails and things like that all came out, there were emails from John Podesta, which was Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, amongst other things, who was really big into UFOs, where he was sending email traffic back and forth between him and Tom DeLonge from Blink 182. And he basically, this guy is the guy that was telling Tom DeLonge all the UFO stories. So supposedly from the Tom DeLonge side, This guy knew where all the bodies were. He knew where all the crashes were. Now he did work at various different research labs and things like that while he was in the Air Force, but he retired like almost a dozen years ago. And about a week and a half ago, the police had to put out a silver alert because he's, like I said, he's 68. Where he just
silver alert. Is that because he's got grey hair? That's a bit rude.
Well, it is a thing, at least here in the States, is why they call it a silver alert, where older people will just walk off sometimes. And they'll put out a thing on the phone that everybody gets alerted that, be on the lookout for this person or whatever. Now, he was an avid hiker. His wife has come out in the past week to say he didn't have dementia. The original reports was that he had dementia and he was just wandered off into the wilderness somewhere because he was an avid hiker. He lives in New Mexico, so he'd hike trails around there all the time. But what's curious is the FBI and other government agencies have joined the search to look for this guy, including helicopters, including thermal stuff, including dogs, a lot of stuff to look for. So where is
he? That he was in New Mexico.
Yes. Well, so he was near Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, okay. So where's Tucson compared to New Mexico?
It's about another several hours west to Tucson.
Okay. So yeah, because of course, obviously New Mexico.
But it is that there is a similarity there where this guy, except for like, there's not even like videotape or blood or anything like that. This guy just vanished. There's no tapes or anything like that. They just went to look for him. His wife went out somewhere and came back. He wasn't home. Maybe he went out to the store or something like that.
So is it that he was at home? He didn't go out walking anywhere. He wasn't off hiking. He was home, and the missus goes out, comes home from shopping.
Right. As the story goes, he was there. She went out to do something or work or whatever it was. And when she came back, he wasn't there, which wasn't unusual. So she didn't think anything of it. Maybe he ran to the store, or maybe he went out for a walk or whatever. And dozen hours later, he's still not home. She can't reach him on the phone. I don't recall if they know where the phone is, if he had his phone, or they certainly would have tracked him down, I think, if that was the case. So I don't know the actual status of that, but this guy's just vanished. And why it's become like a UFO story is because he is tied to UFO lore now through the WikiLeaks drops. And did he actually work on that? Well, we don't really know. But according to the email traffic that was out there between people that are into that kind of a thing, he certainly was. So,
wow.
But no matter what, he's still, a 68-year-old military retiree that has come up missing. And it's been 10 or 11 days now.
Oh, wow. That long.
No idea where he is. Haven't found any clues. There's been no ransom or anything like that. He just vanished.
TMZ's not involved then.
TMZ's not getting secretive emails exclaiming that they're going to have something to do with it. No, it's very, very odd.
Just while I can, in between what I'm about to discuss next, if anybody is watching on the vertical, so if at the moment Enzo and I are below the picture of the fellow who's missing, you're watching me on the vertical. Fantastic. If there's a way that you can do a thumbs up on the vertical, I don't know, I would love it if you could. That would be really great. And if anyone can give me a thumbs up, that would be really great, because it just gets that's what helps my algorithm, apparently. So the more that people go click or share, the algorithm, my videos get shared out a bit more. It doesn't make me any money or anything like that. I don't make any money from the YouTube. But I like that people can watch and learn something, because Enzo always has something pretty interesting to talk about, and I always bang on about something stupid. So you're guaranteed some entertainment. So yeah, if you give me a thumbs up, brilliant. Yeah, so this fellow's missing in New Mexico, and there's, what did you call it, a silver alert out for him.
Yep.
And he's
Here in the
been
States,
missing
because we have amber alerts, which are
for the
children that are
Yeah,
thing.
we have those
And there
here.
are silver alerts when elderly people wander off, is basically what that boils down to.
Well, with a bit of luck, he's just been abducted by some aliens.
Well,
And,
oddly enough, his wife said exactly that in her commentary that she put out 2 days ago, which I found
There you
kind of
go.
weird. But you
No.
don't seem to be too broken up, or you're certainly lighthearted about your husband.
Look, he's probably, who knows? He's probably been contacted. You don't know what's going on in the background. He's probably been contacted about something. Someone's probably said something.
Because
It's certainly odd that he wouldn't at least tell his wife that he's going somewhere. So hopefully he shows up, and hopefully he doesn't show up.
Yeah,
no longer
February
with us.
27th is how long he's been gone. But
Yeah.
I thought this said somewhere in here when he retired. It was like he's been retired for like, I want to say it's like 9 or 10 years, which once you've been out of the biz.
I've got a theory. A theory. He abducted Nancy Guthrie, and it wasn't an abduction. They've run off together. It's an affair.
It's a love black triangle that's that would be
so good. I've been continually following the Nancy Guthrie thing. It's interesting that they're both in a similar area. Like he's gone. It really is.
Yeah, it's one state over, but
it's still in a similar area. But yeah, with poor old Nancy Guthrie, I'm the more I hear, there's really nothing. Everyone keeps saying update. There's really no update.
There hasn't been any.
There's nothing. So and the sheriff in Pima County, he's not saying much, and anything he does say, he's all over the joint. Like 1 minute he says one thing, next minute he says something different to contradict what he said in the first place. So I don't know. There's something peculiar going on. And then the FBI are back in the area interviewing the neighbors again. And I thought, you know what? Again. Yeah, they've already been there, and they're just in the last few days they've been back in the area, door knocking again with the neighbors, and they're saying the theory is that possibly it was someone who lives in her area that did it. And I thought, okay, how do you come up? Firstly, how do you come up with the conclusion that it's someone in the area? That I think what will happen with Nancy is I don't think it's a cold case. I think there's something a lot more to it than the public's being allowed to know. Do I think she's still alive? I'd hope she is, but I highly doubt it because of her health. But she could be. She could be somewhere being kept. But I don't know. I still think my theory's still out there that I think with all this tech stuff, because they said they think the guy had a signal jammer in his pocket, which is supposed to knock out the Wi-Fi in the area. A neighbour said their Wi-Fi went down, and I'm like, I don't think her Wi-Fi. I would question the neighbour who said their Wi-Fi went down. I'd ask them where they were when she disappeared, because for the Wi-Fi, for argument's sake, let's say the Wi-Fi went down in the whole neighbourhood. There's only a few ways that can happen. As a matter of fact, I think there's only one way that can happen, is that if someone's got access to the grid and knows how to shut down those particular things, and they'd need a computer to do it, they'd need access, they'd have to hack into the people that provide you. And then how do you know who provides them with their, it'd have to be a way of getting into the, if it's what do you call it over there, where we call it NBN here, but it's the wires, the cables, what do you call it, optical cables that give us our internet. It has to be. Is that
because I mean, what is it they're saying happened when they said their Wi-Fi went down? It just went dead.
Their Wi-Fi went down. There was no Wi-Fi, so anything on their cameras, it came up with no signal. So someone in the area said there was no Wi-Fi. It sort of was out for a few minutes.
They do have Wi-Fi jammers, because Wi-Fi is just a radio
Yeah,
signal.
but the Wi-Fi jammers
It wouldn't have anything to do.
Won't put out a whole
No. You're incorrect, I feel, because if you have Wi-Fi, it's you've got the little thing next to wherever your router is or whatever. It's got all the antennas on it. That's putting out this Wi-Fi signal out to your cameras or computers, laptops, whatever. You can block that. It's a radio signal. You can block that. It doesn't. You don't have to get into the wires at all.
Oh no, I know that. I know. Yeah, because I saw a guy from not the FBI. Who did he work with? I can't remember, but he was explaining what the little ones. He said you can buy them on Amazon, the Wi-Fi blockers, and he said if that's what's in the guy's pocket, because there's a picture, it'd have to be only about yay big, whatever that is. Right. And he said they don't have enough coverage to put out a whole neighborhood. They've got enough coverage.
It's very limited range.
That particular area. So what I'm trying to say is that yes, Wi-Fi blockers work, but for a small area, to put out a whole neighborhood, I believe it'd have to be something a little bit more intricate than that. So somebody with some pretty good internet knowledge and access to somehow the wire, because I know I can only go by Australian. So out in our street, there are boxes, which is the main area. So if someone knew how to do it, they could go to that box, take off the lid and, I don't know, screw something off, and there'd be no signal for a few minutes or whatever, however long they wanted it.
They would have noticed that, though. They would have
noticed that. So that's what makes me think that whoever has said, oh, my house lost signal, therefore I didn't have the camera running and so on and so forth. I think I for whatever reason, I think that's not true. I think maybe your internet dropped out, unless every single person that they speak to says, oh yeah, when we look it was out, but then they'd know that. Even the experts said, no, you'd know that. And you just have to go, it'd be shown on something that there was an outage in that area for a set amount of time. So I haven't found that.
That's so digging into the wires. No, I don't feel like that's what happened.
So that's what I mean. I don't think so.
A portable device that they could carry on them.
Yes.
But you're only talking maybe max like 10 meters.
Yes. You have to be near the box. You have to be near their modem or
if the person is carrying that with them, like in their backpack or whatever, and it's doing the counter transmission, as they're walking along, there'd be like a sphere of just dead zones for Wi-Fi following them around.
Yeah. And look, and the other sad thing too is as Julie says, I don't think it's a horrible thing to think about, but I don't think the poor lady's with us anymore. I want to be wrong. I want the FBI to know something, and maybe they bust into someone's expensive house and she's being kept there, and this is all a revenge thing for. I still think it's a revenge type thing. They keep saying, oh, a house robbery gone wrong. Yeah, no, they wouldn't take her. Why would they take her? They'd just leave her there. A house robbery gone wrong, they've banged her on the head and she's dead or something. They'd just leave her. What are they going to do with her? A house robbery? No. I don't think
robbing a house is one thing. Dragging grandma along with you is a totally different thing. That's very different.
Yeah, and I think therefore, and the guy was scoping out the place, and I have heard there are some gangs around that area that's what they do. They scope a place for a while, so maybe they did think the house was empty. Maybe they saw her go out. Maybe it's a usual thing for her to stay at the daughter's instead of coming home late at night after dinner, and they thought the house was going to be empty or whatever. But either way, they've gotten into the house. She's either surprised them all that she knew, or she was the target, because they're not saying, if anything, a robbery gone wrong. Well, what was taken? They've not even said that anything was taken. Like, there's nothing taken except her. So what if, in my opinion, my theory, I still hark back to what Savannah's husband used to do for a job. What if this is some form of, for whatever reason, she was the easiest one to get to, they couldn't get to Savannah. I don't know why they would think to hurt this poor lady. But what if it's a revenge type thing to Savannah's husband, and what his job was, not his job now, but what his job was, in that he used to clean up the internet trails. His business did. He's the one you would call if you had stuff on your computer you wanted wiped. If you had something on your computer that you didn't want someone to find, he worked for Clinton and Gore and who knows who else. He was suggested to Epstein. So, hey, Epstein, if you need your computer cleaned up, contact this guy's company. That's what they do, and they're good at it. So what if Savannah's husband has peed somebody off, and for whatever reason, this is a revenge thing? Not against Savannah, against her husband.
Right. Do
and that's why I don't know.
Because there's been a lot of reports of, the kidnappers and making some kind of demand, some kind of contact sporadically, 3 or 4 times, however many times it's been. Do you think that's real? Because
no, that wasn't real. They've already proved that was just hoaxes.
The original one, yes, but they've had other contacts since that original.
Yeah, hoaxes.
Those are all fake.
All fake. Or just people trying to take advantage. That's why I think, well, I don't know. I mean, conspiracy theory, I don't know. But for me, that stands out. Savannah's husband, I can't imagine why they'd have anything against the younger sister and her husband, Tommaso, because they're worth nothing. They're just regular. Savannah and her husband, on the other hand, are worth a lot of money. And her husband now runs a PR firm. But before that, he worked for a firm that's exactly what they did. They cleaned up your mess. So, and it's documented, like that's what he did. That's who he worked for, Gore and Clinton back in the day. And I just sort of think maybe that's why nothing much is coming out from the FBI. Maybe that's why they're not allowed to talk about certain things, because maybe the FBI are onto it. Do I think they'll find the grandmother alive, the mum alive? I hope so. But it's been, as Julie says, it's been a long time. It's just been too long, as Julie says. So it's very sad. But yeah, so far as actual updates are concerned, when you're watching the news, there's just nothing. Like everybody's concluding, like jumping to conclusions, and little things are coming out. But the FBI, it's either that. Thank you, Kirsten. It's either what I'm suggesting, and that's why the FBI and everybody is quiet. I don't know. It just seems to me. And then if it is that, let's just say, for example, it is that, we'll probably never find out because of what it is. Because there's, so did his company at some point help out Jeffrey Epstein to get rid of a whole heap of crap off of his computer? Don't know, because that's not documented anywhere unless it comes out in some new files. But certainly the suggestion was made to Jeffrey Epstein to contact Savannah's husband's company and ask for assistance in that area. And that is what Savannah's husband did for Clinton, and he did it for Gore. So to me, that's shonky business anyway. But what am I to say? Who am I to say? I'm just saying, if he's annoyed somebody, if someone has been hard done by, maybe there was some evidence out there someone needed that had lots of money and it was wiped by him and it's a revenge tactic. Who knows? When you do that for a job, even though he's moved on from that now and he does PR, you make enemies. I bet you the FBI are looking at it, and I bet you that's why we're not hearing anything. I could be wrong, but that's just my gut feeling. There's something not right. And that also could explain the red herring letters of ransom, the ones that they couldn't trace. They couldn't trace them, but they did come to the conclusion. They did trace one. They traced one and arrested the guy, so he's in trouble. And the other ones that were coming through were somehow proven to be BS as well. But I'm just thinking, you know, throw a few little red herrings in there. Oh, look over there while I'm over here. I don't know. But I think that the people who took her were professionals? No, I think they were probably bloody idiots. But they got her. And that could probably be the thing too, that if you pay someone to go in and abduct somebody, you know, you're probably not, they probably got paid a small amount to do it. And do I think she's still alive? I don't think they'd put up with it unless the orders were get her to us alive. And then in that case, there would have been some kind of thing, but I think it's more a revenge. I hate to say it, but it might have been the only way they could get revenge or whatever. It sounds a bit far-fetched, I suppose, like a movie, but stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. You know, they have. Just saying. But anyway, no update in Guthrie. And but it'd be interesting to see what happens then in regard to.
That's why I brought that one. The story of the missing gentleman. The retiree there, because it's very similar.
Very similar.
Because and there's a Clinton connection as well there. So it's very strange because he's just vanished. Not even like blood spilled on the front porch or anything like that with Guthrie's thing, or videos of people putting plants up in front of the thing, which was really dumb. It doesn't seem like a criminal mastermind at work.
No, and that's what they're saying. Well, they kind of think that possibly what's also happened is that if he had the jammer in his pocket, and again, this is speculation, they don't know if he had a jammer. They say it could have been anything in his pocket, but it does look like it, like they compared a jammer to what was sticking out of his pocket. It does look like it. Looks like one of those, hard covered aerials. They think that he may have thought, because he definitely cased the place a couple of days beforehand. That's what one of the pictures shows. So he cased the place. He probably saw where things were, thought, right, I just need the jammer in my pocket. And then for whatever reason, but he ripped it, like all of the cameras were ripped out. And whoever it was who got in there knew where all the cameras were in the house. So does that mean that they got into the house initially when she wasn't home to look around? Like they've cased the joint. They knew, but I could be wrong, but I have not heard that anything was stolen from the house except for Nancy. And my heart breaks for her. That at 84 years old, she's gonna be weak as a kitten anyway because she's elderly. She's unwell. She's on all these tablets.
On medication, yeah.
On medication. And poor lady, she was probably in bed, got a fright. Maybe she got up and heard a noise, But either way, imagine seeing something like that standing. She probably had a heart attack there and then. But then there's blood, so that indicates that possibly he smacked her around a bit because it was her blood.
Yeah.
And that breaks my heart too. I mean, it's just horrible, and I feel so much for the like, it's just horrible, and I just hope for their sake that at least her body is found, and at the end of the day her body is returned to the family so they can give her a decent burial. But it's one thing to say this, but as you say, that other fellow's gone missing. What was his name again, Enzo? Pop his picture up again. The fellow that's gone missing to do with the
that's William Neal McCasland.
Yeah. So he was involved with like he knew all about UFOs and all that sort of thing. So,
according to WikiLeaks, he was the guy for which I know there's a lot of UFO lore mixed up in there, but the short version of it is that he supposedly knew a lot about it. I knew a lot about where
hang on, I've got it. There it is.
Saucers were, where the bodies were, all of this stuff. Like I said earlier, he was part of a Air Force research lab there at Kirtland Air Force Base, which is just outside of Albuquerque. And all that. But of course, there's nothing official that says, this guy knew about UFOs. It's not, there's not a UFO ribbon on his jacket or anything like that. But it's the WikiLeaks stuff that he specifically is named by name, him as being the primary contact for the To the Stars Academy, which involved a bunch of other UFO people and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That he was like their primary guy telling them all the stories. So
I don't know, but when you think about it, you've got people disappear daily. Like, it's just right. This is interesting because of who he is and what he is supposedly involved with. Nancy Guthrie probably really only got the coverage because of who her daughter is. Exactly. Otherwise, it'd just be probably gone weeks ago. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But because her daughter is Savannah, who's on the Today Show in America, is that right? The Today Show. That's why it's getting the coverage. But my heart breaks to think that daily people disappear. Children are abducted. People just disappear and they're never found. And that's why they're on the back of milk cartons, isn't it? Like, all these people. Mm-hmm. So the heartache that these families go through, I think they'd much rather just know that the person's died and they've got their body. And at the end of the day, sure, you'd live for the rest of your life thinking, what the hell happened? But at least you know that you got the body back. Like, right. They're not out there in the bush somewhere. They're not, do you know, my heart breaks for these people. And I think how many other people are out there going through the same thing at the moment? Like, where's my mum? Where's my husband? Where's my child? And they're not getting the coverage that Nancy Guthrie is getting. Or even the little boy here, Gus Lamont, still haven't found his body. And that's really it's totally suspicious. Absolutely suspicious in his instance, because of where he lived when he disappeared. But it's a pretty sad state of affairs, isn't it? But anyway, that's the constant not knowing. I think that's what it is, Julie. And look, even when you do know, like in the instance, for example, with my son when he was killed, I know how he was killed. And there was no missing body or anything. But to this day, I still wonder in my head, like I go through, okay, so he was driving along there. I know the road he was driving along. How did that happen? What happened? Why? So, and that's just in me dealing with a car accident where he didn't disappear or anything like that. So imagine what happens to these people when they're disappeared. And you don't know where they are, and you can't, like, I got my baby's body back, but these people haven't, and it's pretty scary. I hope this fellow just turns up, but again, as you say, 11 days that he's been missing.
Yeah, February 27th or 8th. The story February 27th. Last seen February 27th.
Yeah. I'd love to be able to link it to Nancy Guthrie and that they've just both had a clandestine relationship. And
it is. There are a lot of similarities of just that. And it's the unknown. It's like, wait a minute, how does someone just vanish?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, are his eyes? Let's get that mask happening.
That's it.
I'm joking, people. I'm just trying to make light of a very horrendous situation. Oh gosh. Anything else happening in the past week apart from a war?
There is. I have a story here from the Daily Mail. Clues in the Majestic 12 UFO files the FBI claimed were fake prove the alien unit was real.
Ooh, do tell.
Now, anyone who's not familiar with the Majestic 12 documents, the short version is back in 1992, UFO researcher Timothy Cooper goes out to his mailbox, checks his mail, and he finds an envelope that had been gone through the mail, but there was no return address or anything like that. He's like, what the hell is this? He opens it up. there's a roll of undeveloped 35 millimeter film in it with no note, nothing. It's like, what? So he goes and has the film developed, and inside are photographs of document after document after document, basically and this particular one even has full-blown names associated with it, of a secret group started in the 50s called Majestic 12, which is all about dealing with UFOs, crash and recovery, research, all of it for unidentified flying objects.
So
Now,
probably, I'm just looking at the date there, the death of Secretary of Forrestal. Oh, no, you've gone. Is that you doing that? Moving
yeah,
him?
that's me. Well,
Yes,
this is dated
it's just-
18 November 1952.
Yeah, but it says
And-
down the bottom there about replacing him. So he died May 1949. When
That's
was
correct.
Roswell? What year was Roswell?
1947. And
Yeah, so I'm wondering if
Secretary-
it started then.
Secretary Forrestal, yeah, this all started in Roswell because it actually goes on to explain in detail. Basically, this document is the document that they were giving. Let me see if I can scroll back out a little bit here so I make sure I'm good. This is the document this is basically for the incoming president, Harry S. Truman. So this is his briefing document saying, hey, the first day in office kind of thing is like, hey, just so you know, Mr. President, this group exists and it's been working for a dozen years or so. But it explains, here's all the people on the panel, the Majestic 12, the 12 people, and all of these people are real people. They were in the military, they're advanced research scientists that were alive during the day. All of that. If you had to pick a group of people that were going to go research UFOs, this is the list. But then it goes on to explain, June of 1947, people saw UFOs flying over Washington. A couple of days later, there was a crash. In July of 1947, there was a recovery. That's all Roswell. What they found, all of these things in this document. And this is just a small piece because there were a lot of other documents on that roll of film. To include the other big name is this one. This is, I'll just zoom in on the top part here. This is Majestic 12 Special Operations Manual, SOM 1-01, which titled Extraterrestrial Entities and Technology, Recovery and Disposal. So this is basically a field manual for field agents that if they encounter or are called to the scene of a UFO crash, of what to do, how to handle it. Call it, because and there's a lot more than just what I'm showing here to it, but it breaks it all down. What to do when you get on the scene, who to include local police and fire department until your own people get there, then kick all of those people out. Complete news blackout, no pictures, confiscate all film, all the tropes that you would think of. This document lists exactly how to do it step by step. So you get a lot of these things that are just, it's bananas. This roll of film had this treasure trove of documents in it. So as the article goes, a researcher has been going through some of these documents because some of these documents have, I'm trying to zoom this in where people can kind of see it, but it's hard to do on this stupid app. But these red marked areas, there's little stamps and little marks that they've put on all of these documents where it's basically like tracking numbers. It's like this official military form was documented and it's filed away using these numbers, and verified by this person, file away in this area, blah blah blah, and all of the these things have these documents all with like, you know, a lot of them have like the same rubber stamp with a number next to it, which is all indications that of how it was filed, who filed it, when they filed it, and all that.
Mhm.
Now, that doesn't really mean a whole lot if you don't have any reference for what this is. But in 2022, they released a whole other set of documents that are not UFO related. They're actually documents post World War II of Operation Paperclip. Anyone who doesn't know what Operation Paperclip was, that was the American program where basically they secreted away German bad guys after World War II to the United States, all scientists and research people to come live and work in the U.S. to help the U.S. get ahead, got in weapons and projectile programs that they had made advances in.
What was the name of the fellow in charge of NASA who was an ex-German Nazi?
Werner von Braun.
That's him.
But it was part of Operation Paperclip. So what this researcher noticed, because all of that stuff is all like post World War II up into like the late 40s and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Those same documents, he's going through them, and basically all of these like indicators that we can see down here at the bottom and all these red marked areas are the same that can be found in the 1992 released versions of all the MJ-12 documents. So that's a match, meaning somebody, if it was fake, if all the MJ-12 stuff is fake, that they formed this group to study UFOs and to keep a lid on it and, you know, research all the pieces and parts they might find and blah, blah, blah. If that's all fake, someone went to extreme measures to even include the exact documentation that they would have been on it at that time, because it's around the same time frame, a lot of those documents, which include the Operation Paperclip stuff, and they're an exact match. So if it's fake, someone went well above and beyond, and those Operation Paperclip things weren't declassified until 2022. So in 94 or whatever it was that Cooper got this film, they wouldn't have known about that. There's no way they would have known about just a regular person if they're making up a very extravagant hoax.
So long term, what does that mean for disclosure? Long term, it means there is something going on, and
it means that it means that as far back as the Roswell incident, 1947. These people, as part of the government, were researching it in detail and are collecting and have actually put out documents that say how to collect specimens like UFOs and body parts that are even live aliens.
Entities, so bodies.
Yes. So,
do you think they have? I've seen some footage, which I find hard to believe, and I think it's fake, but I've seen footage of a supposed interrogation or talk with an alien who's actually like smoking a cigarette and stuff. And I'm like, oh, bullshit. Like, no way. Do you know the one I'm talking about? It's really...
I don't know that one. Not smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, he was smoking, and I remember thinking to myself, an alien wouldn't smoke a cigarette. But it was just sort of like this interview or interrogation of a Gray, and I'm like, and he was speaking, and I'm like, there's no way he'd even speak. They don't have to speak. So that was definitely fake in my eyes. Along the lines with that, the famous, if you ask me, fake footage of the body, the dead body, that they were whatever.
Oh yeah, the alien autopsy thing.
Yeah, and I'm like. The thing that makes me upset about that, much like I get about animals, right? Firstly, I think any alien being is way above our intellectual pay grade. But what upsets me is how, therefore, if they're above us in intelligence, it's really bad luck that they get caught, like the Brazilian alien or like Roswell. Like, they must actually have to be absolutely either dead or critically injured to allow themselves to get caught. Because you'd think they'd have a backup. But anyway, but I sort of thought, I hate the idea that these beings, so far they haven't done anything horrible to us, so far as I know, are being caught and tortured and humiliated and kept somewhere, and then God knows. I mean, think of the atrocities that they did to people in World War II, the Nazis,
Right.
to the Jewish
Right.
people. Think of those horrible experiments that they did on the Jewish people back then, and the time frame, which is just before the Roswell accident. So you can't tell me that the same kind of people, paperclip, that have come from that haven't decided, oh, let's just chop them up and see what they're made of. Like, it makes me feel sick. It makes me feel sick, because I think if we were, it'd be like anything, and it's a miracle if they come down. It's like when I go about my kookaburra that comes down and sits on the fence. It's a wild animal, beautiful. It's a kookaburra.
Yeah.
And he comes and he sits on my fence.
And then the projectiles come up.
But I just think I would never dream of hurting that kookaburra. In fact, I'm like, oh, here you go, and I give him some chicken, right? Should I give him chicken? I don't know. He enjoys it, okay? But I sort of think if that's how I would react to an alien, sure, I'd be like, ooh, but I'd still be friendly. Like, I'd think, okay, are you right with me? You're not going to hurt me? Great, terrific. How can I help you? This is marvelous. Don't worry. I'm not going to tell anybody else you exist because they're all crazy here. Go in peace. But I don't know. I couldn't imagine hurting the kookaburra. I feel very privileged that the kookaburra trusts me enough to sit on the fence 3 feet away from me and allow me to pop some chicken up on the bench for him to come and grab and eat. That's a privilege to me. Same as when the bear in Virginia City gets a cake on top of the rubbish bin.
You get more than cake. But to circle back to the story here, the headline, it says, the FBI claimed that this whole thing was all fake. Well, that's true, because they did a Freedom of Information Act on Majestic 12.
It is true.
Well, hang on. Where the FBI did say it was fake, and this is what they showed when they did a Freedom of Information Act on these same documents to see if there was more to that than what they had on that piece of film. This is what they were sent back. Okay, and then this is a basic distro page of how they collected it and all that, and then here it is, and they wrote the word bogus on every single page. I wasn't aware they were such big Bill and Ted fans, but that's the FBI doing this.
Why?
Like, why would the FBI have legitimately bogus stuff in their records to actually research to present? Why? It's all bullshit cover-up and not very good. It doesn't even make sense of why they would take a marker and write bogus over the original documents.
Dude.
Yeah, because this is that first page. We see the names there at the bottom and all that stuff. Bogus, bogus, dude.
Where's my car?
Yeah. And then, but that's how goofy like cover up stuff has been over the years, where yeah, exactly. Because someone is going to either shoot it and stuff it, or is going to put it in a zoo, which you don't want either.
Oh my God. Well, I if someone grabbed one and put it in a zoo, I can tell you now, there'd be a bunch of people who probably put money together, break into the zoo to see the Bigfoot and then release it. I'd get it out of there. That's what I mean.
That would be just bogus.
That would be so bogus, dude. Oh my God, we're showing our age.
But that's what I got.
Yeah, I don't know.
That, so I'll dump out of that.
I don't know, but there you go. Yeah, good old Bigfoot. that's where I still think I used to sit on the fence. But once I heard our old friend Sonny, who sadly passed away, gosh, a few years now. Sonny, some of the regular viewers would remember Sonny, and he had a Bigfoot. What he thinks was he didn't see Bigfoot,
Some tracks.
but there were tracks and a massive rock thrown at him while he was talking on the telephone in the bush in the forest. But yeah, and I sort of think I trust Sonny, and he wasn't telling a story because even he wasn't quite. It was like whoa, but it was freaking interesting. And I think, well, if who knows, but I do sort of think that if I don't know how one hasn't been found yet, unless, as the old theory goes, it's interdimensional, which is possible because the talk about this alien thing, as we discussed last week, is the interdimensional travel. It's all very complicated above my brain capacity, but I figure, be very interesting to see what ends up coming out of the whole thing, that's for sure. What do you think?
I feel like there's a lot of things, like we talked a little bit last week about former presidents saying stuff and then current presidents saying, you know what, we're going to throw some stuff out there and all that, which that's very strange. We're used to getting paperwork that says bogus written across it. That's the standard for ufology, except for the last couple of years where there actually seems to be some headway. And the discovery that, holy shit, the little earmarks, the tracking numbers and all that stuff match other documents. So that kind of means this is freaking real, that there was an actual panel of people in charge of this and, putting out, manuals on how to contain a scene and how to BS to the press and all this other stuff when you have a UFO crash.
And that's the other thing too, as I've said before on previous chats we've had. If anything, this, I hope, vindicates the people that have been coming out and saying, I saw this, I did this, I was involved in that, they covered up this, blah, blah, blah. It vindicates them, the people like Travis Walton and Bob Lazar, that everybody labels a nut job, or whatever. It would be great for them to be vindicated and proven that they were telling the truth. And because even when you watch Travis Walton discuss things, or if you listen to the old tapes of the Hills being hypnotized back in the day to sort of relive what it was they saw, it's absolutely traumatic for them. It's trauma plus.
Those tapes of Betty and Barney Hill reliving the whole thing is absolutely horrifying.
Yeah, I don't know. What's Julie saying? I used to hike a lot in the national forests. Never saw a bear, wolf carcass, but I saw deer, elk, buffalo, and antelope. Yeah, it's interesting. See, that's the other thing too. It all depends how something takes itself away to die. And you're only working on the assumption that whatever this is in our existence, in our realm. But there are so many, it depends where they live and what they do. I mean, cats, pussycats, just plain old pussycats. If you let your cats outside and they live outside or whatever, very rarely do they come to you to die. They disappear. They take themselves away. Cats do it. They take themselves away. They hide to die. They do not. Yeah.
I feel like that's a predator thing.
Could be.
Because even in Julie's comment, all the predators, she never saw any predators, but the non-predators she certainly saw out the way.
So I wonder if bears, wolves, etc. Like it's probably documented somewhere. I've just never bothered to look that up. But I would assume that somewhere the predators take themselves off to hide because they're injured or whatever, and you just don't find them. And it doesn't take long for a carcass of fur and stuff, once it's dead, it doesn't take long for things to be, you know, and you don't know what some of these things, you're just assuming that they're made up of bones, like we've got bones or whatever. Maybe they break down in a different way. Bears, you know, they probably go back into where they normally hibernate if they're injured and die. Who knows? So that's why I think, well, maybe we've never found a Bigfoot body because they're more humanoid than not, and they too take themselves off somewhere and just hide. You know, so it's possible that that's why we've never seen anything, but it is kind of weird. Like, so I don't know. I rule nothing out really, but then there's some things I purely say, oh nah, I'll call BS on that.
Probably not.
Yeah, but I don't know. But after I heard Sonny's story, I thought, well, Sonny doesn't tell fibs. Oh, he probably does. Like, hey, yeah, your bum doesn't look too big in that.
He's a master at a tall tale. He could spin a yarn, but it was all true.
He could, but he wouldn't.
He knows how to tell a story.
Yeah. So that's why I believe it. Plus, he had the video and the footage, and he had the you know, he discussed and showed you the bloody big. I mean, all right, you know, if you want to be, oh, I don't think it was true. Well, okay, but I trusted Sonny, and I think that his tale is interesting. So yeah, it's all very interesting. But and the other thing, we'll be heading off in about 15 minutes, Enzo. But the other thing I wanted to touch on too was that that I hope this thing in Iran is over and done with in a week, maybe two, like so far as the actual fighting from the US and Israel's point of view is. I think it will be. Trumpy's not one to go in and let things linger too long. He's usually a hit quick and get the job done sort of fella. So I hope it's over and done with. Yeah, well, we all miss Sonny, so not as much as his beautiful wife, but we do miss him. But yeah, so I hope that there's no more, because so far there hasn't been any more US deaths. And I did find out, I was saying to Enzo before, that the 6 people that lost their life, I didn't know how. I had to see how they lost their life, because I thought, what were they like? Were they fighting with guns? Like, how did that happen? But they were at work in their office building, and it was, from my understanding, was bombed, and that's how the poor people lost their life. Hi, Banshee. So I hope it's over and done with soon. I'm a bit annoyed that here in Australia our petrol or prices are going up already, and I'm like, dude, there's no way. He's only been at this for what, a week and a bit, Trumpy?
Yeah.
Like, and all of a sudden everyone's going, ooh, petrol. Like, it'll be fine. It'll all be fine.
Anytime something explodes in the Middle East, the price always goes up. That's how it's always been.
It's very, very annoying. So we'll see what happens. But I'm you know, I'm watching the news and I'm seeing different people come at it from different sides. But I'm a bit disappointed that because I've gone back, I've researched. There's probably a video somewhere where I went back ages ago to talk about Iran, because I was surprised at what it used to be like before this new regime took over in 79. It used to be, because I used to watch I Dream of Jeannie, and I said this to Kristen the other day, you know, Jeannie came from Baghdad. And whenever you watched I Dream of Jeannie and she'd blink and go back to Baghdad, it was normal looking. Like, so I went in and I had a look, and sure enough, it was normal. They were westernized. They'd have their picnics on the beach and wear bikinis. They were all done up in their thing.
I talked to so many people during my time there in Iraq that had been there before all of the changes with Saddam Hussein and all that. They're like, I remember as a kid, you know, there was a Chevrolet dealership across the street. There was a guy that delivered milk, and there was a guy that delivered like Pepsi Cola and all that stuff to the house. It was great.
And then I learned the other two names escaped me, but it was Jimmy Carter and two other leaders that sent the Ayatollah there in a plane. I can't remember who it was. It was Carter. Anyway, it's their fault. Bloody Carter. I can't remember. I was reading up on the history. I just can't remember. It's Carter's name who stood out to me. But yeah, they flew him in, and then initially people sort of didn't understand what was going on, but it didn't take him long. And I looked at some old footage of the women in Iran at the time marching in protest against Khomeini, because he was telling them they all had to cover up or they couldn't go to work, and all this sort of thing. All these things were coming in, and it started initially where you were told to go home. So if you went to work with your hair uncovered, go home. Then it didn't take too long till it was a beating.
Mm-hmm.
And then it didn't take too long before it was a public beating. And in some instances, some of the women who refused to wear the hijab were killed. And then it got worse and worse and worse. And it's been like that for 47 years. So the rights of any woman, it's just shameful. And the fact that people are going, oh, free Palestine. Like, dude, compared to Iran, they are free. They can like bugger them. I don't give a shit. Look at all that. And nobody's crying about Iran. Nobody was saying, oh, help Iran. Oh, no, don't worry about Iran and all the people there. So I'm pissed. I'm like, you're a load of dingbats who don't do. And now they're all celebrating and thanking President Trump. There was footage. There was footage of a whole heap of Iranian people doing the Trump dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing the YMCA. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, we've had years and years of this crap that led to, like, he was in charge of getting, like in London when the train stations and everything were bombed and people, that was thank you from him. Every terrorism act, and I think it was him, and I could be wrong, you might educate me here, I'm pretty sure it was Khomeini and bin Laden that was supposedly have been in charge of organising 9/11, even though 9/11 is still questionable in some people's minds. But at the end of the day, any terrorist act, and someone actually brought up do you remember the Russian primary school? I'm trying to think. I remember it, so it might have been 20 odd years ago.
Yeah.
It was a while ago, but I remember that. And I remember there was footage from inside the school. They were all in the gym and kids crying and everything. And the Russian parents were outside. It was an act of terrorism, and they murdered the children while the parents were outside listening to them screaming, and they couldn't get in. That was Khomeini, and that was all of these crazies. And I think good on Mr. Trump, President Trump, for having the balls to go in there and do what every other president has been too weak to do. And fantastic, war
is, nobody likes, war.
Nobody
anywhere
likes
around that.
Sometimes,
However, this
sometimes,
is something that should have been dealt with decades ago. Because
it should have been
as
dealt
Karen
with.
had said, every major and even minor radical Islam extremist group around the world, terrorist group around the world, it all tracks back to Iran, either through funding or training or supplies. They've been behind all of it for decades and decades.
And I think,
that's why you don't see any of their neighbors coming to their defense, which is the first thing that they say, our loyal, Arab states around us will come to our defense. No. And then he starts bombing them. So now it's really like,
now they're really in trouble. But the other thing too is that, nobody likes a war. But when you look at how those people have been, if you ask me, tortured for the last 47 years,
It's
some of the
so
things
disheartening to see.
I can't, yeah, I can't
you know,
unsee. I can't unsee
yeah,
what I've seen because I've been researching it. So I've looked at what he's done and how he's killed people, like the Cranes and stoning. He said stoning's a bit much now. Now we'll just shoot them. I'm like,
to be fair, Saudi Arabia still does that today, where the more humane stoning is, they have whoever's been offended throws like a couple of rocks, and then they just literally back a dump truck full of like busted up concrete and just dump it on them.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is, it is so complicated, yet not. I think if everybody of good moral standing simply takes a stand and says no, and I saw recently here that here in Australia, and I think they were trying to do it in Texas and it got knocked back. As a matter of fact, I'm sure they were trying to do it in Texas. But here in Australia, I read an article yesterday that some new, new suburbs being built. The people that were selling the land wanted to sell it to only non-English speaking people. So they wanted a primarily Islamic suburb with no English speaking people allowed. It got knocked back, thank goodness, but I know that was happening in Texas. In Texas somewhere they wanted the same thing, and pretty sure it got knocked back there too. And I'm like, just go back to where you came from, because clearly the regime that they were under, they agree with. So why did they flee? Then you see other people who say, oh, no, we didn't flee. This is purposeful. We're moving here because we want you to convert to Islam. That's why we're here. And I'm like, oh, great. So I don't know.
There's been a lot of people that have kind of come around on that the last, especially the last several months, but the last couple of years. I fear for places like Great Britain, I think
it's too late.
It's too late. It's just too late for them. They're lost. Yeah,
I did try to find a clip of the speech before we came on live, but people can look it up for themselves if they want to educate themselves. So there was the parliamentary speech in England, in the UK, just a few days ago, where the situation with Starmer not wanting to support the US, not allowing to use the bases. And he's like, oh, I can't support something that's illegal. And the other people are going, it's not bloody illegal. What? And they're arguing, coming back and forth, right? Then later on that day or the next day, he's giving a speech and I'm pretty sure it was in Westminster Abbey, because they had a celebration of sorts, a Muslim celebration in Westminster Abbey. And he gave a speech and he was talking to the Islam people, to the Muslims. And he said, I just want you to be very clear that the UK is not involved or has not been involved in any way, shape or form in this war. We didn't want to help. And we're not. And
this plane going here and that plane going there. Yeah, he's getting more involved. But
he is now. But at the time he gave this speech,
right.
He wasn't. And
because of the fallout from that speech. Yeah. He said he's backtracking.
Because in that speech, he said that he basically, you have to watch it, but the basic message was that he is happy with the way the UK currently is, and that the UK is a mixed bag of backgrounds, and that Islam is held in high esteem. He was backing them all the way. He was not in any way, shape or form saying, yes, I'm going to help America because they're our allies and what they're doing is correct, because all the people in front of him were against what the Americans just did, including the Palestinian fellow that was all over him like a rash. Yeah, so not impressed. Not impressed. I haven't been impressed with the UK for a while because of him, but certainly not impressed now. And I'm afraid the UK is lost unless they get rid of it. And I found out the other day the only person who can, and I knew they could, and someone told me they couldn't, but I knew they could. The King Charles, he can actually dissolve the government there. It's within the King's power to dissolve Parliament. He
Really?
can actually dissolve Parliament, which means that the whole country has to go to vote and get in a new Parliament. So why doesn't Charlie do that? I mean, I know he's been going to a few churches that are Islamic, but he's the head of the church in England. He's the king. And I didn't know. I knew that happened here. Here in Australia, the person who acts on behalf of the Crown is our Governor General. So our Governor General could do the same thing and get rid of our current government, which would mean we all have to have a new election. But she won't do it. And I think, well, it's a shame because the Australian people are very, very unhappy with our leadership for the same reason that the UK people are very unhappy with theirs. Like there's something afoot that's not great. And we want someone like, well, the normal people want someone with balls like Trump to come in and freaking clean it all up and start caring about the people in your own country and send back the people who hate our countries. The same that's happening where you are. Like, just send back keep the ones that love being in Australia, keep the ones that love being in America, don't send all the immigrants back, just the ones that continually spout hate. Just send them back. Go, right, well, where did you come from? Right, well, you're going back. See ya. Piss off. So, like really, that's how it should be. Like you go to live in a new country for freedom and all that sort of thing. So, I'd love to live in America. There's nothing wrong with America and there's nothing wrong with Australia. But who knows? If Australia goes down the same path as the UK, we're in trouble. And we're already heading there, Enzo, because they've already cut off freedom of speech. You can get into trouble for hate speech and everything. I'm not saying send everybody back, because there's a lot of good people. Not everybody's crazy, but the ones who actually spout hate and try to tell us, like the people that are saying, oh, we don't want any Australian English-speaking people in our neighbourhood. Go away. Bugger off. Sell your land and piss off back to where you come from, because this is Australia. Like it's America. You should be happy to integrate and share your cultures and be good. Like just be good. Do what you want in your own house, but be good to everybody else. And if you don't like us, go away. Go back to where people think like you think. That's what I think. I don't know. I haven't said anything horrible, have I, guys? Oh, you'll find out if they knock on my door and arrest me. But yeah, I'm not saying that everybody's bad, but just the ones that are like that, like just bugger off. We like our dogs. They're our best mates. And we like our freedom. We like to let our hair flow. And women should be able to dress however they like to dress. But even I'm a prude. Like, yeah, do cover up a little bit in public, eh? Like, you don't have to dress like
I don't know.
whatever.
Some of those pictures from like the mid-70s in Iran of
the mini skirts and everything.
College girls in mini skirts, bobbed hair, smoking a cigarette between classes at college. It's like, man, that was great.
Yeah. So I don't know. My name is Karen after all, but yeah,
there is a new video game called Karen, where it's the crazy Karen running around tearing up the mall.
I did see. I wish I had have saved it now. Hang on, I'll see if I can still find it while I'm talking, and then we'll call it a day, because otherwise we could chinwag all day long. And I can see that there's a lot of people on X watching at the moment, because I'm broadcasting to X. Yes,
hello, X.
There's 103 people watching us on X, Enzo. So we must be very interesting. So there you go. And apologies to anyone watching on the X platform, because if you make a comment or anything, I can't see it. I can only see what's being commented on. Oh yes, and Enzo's on Twitter. I can only see on Twitter, X. I can only see what's happening on YouTube. So, but feel free to hit a like on the X video. That would be really good and helpful. And I hope I'm not boring you too much, whoever's listening. And also, if you've got anything to comment at all upon what we've discussed or any questions, do so in the X forum, and I can address those when we go live next week, or I can always come on through the week and address those. But that would be wonderful. And yes, Banshee, that's it too. But yeah, it's interesting. Life is interesting. But I was going to say, if I can find it, there was a Karen, a Karen, not me. And I'll see if Karen has fight with, she gets what is coming to her. It has to come up. Come on. Yep, there it is. Hang on, I'll just find it. I just thought this was really, really funny. I'll just expand it and show it to you. Where are we? Where's that? Oh, there it is. Sorry, I'm just, I've got to pause. These things go so fast. So here we are. We'll end the broadcast on a bit of a giggle. Present. Oh, someone's cooking in my house, Enzo.
Oh,
I can smell food. Okay, there we go. You ready?
snowman.
A snowman defeats Karen. So I don't know what her problem is with the snowman, but she's got a problem. So there you go. Have a
It
giggle.
was too white.
I don't know, but I just thought that was, no, I'm going to get rid of it here. There we go. I thought that was funny. I know, popular. But yeah, just yeah. If anybody watching on X has got any questions, anything, feel free to pop a comment in, because I get those comments, or feel free to go over and find the video that you've just been watching on YouTube, and subscribe and like it, because then that means next week when Enzo and I have something totally extraordinarily interesting to speak about, you'll get notified. And also YouTube. I had no idea how YouTube works, because 1 minute you don't get anyone watching, next minute you've got a lot of people watching, sometimes no one gets notified. It's really weird, but it is what it is. And so far as what's happening in the Middle East, God bless everybody over there. I hope that they, I'm positive. I feel very positive that this will be over and done with in a few weeks. It'll be the fallout that we all have to be aware of. Any of these horrible cells hiding everywhere. So just everybody. But I think it's a good cause, and so long as the Iranian people take the reins now and do what they need to do to get a new government, even if they get their king back, that would be wonderful. You know, go back to their royalty, because they used to have a royal family. That, you know, these. So let's see how it happens. Just everybody keep a cool head. Stop falling for the fake news and educate yourself. If you hear something and you don't automatically bite, just go, I'll educate myself. I'll just read up on that and just double check that what they're saying is correct, because oftentimes what you're being told is not true, or it's a pinch of truth with a whole heap of other stuff missing. Thank you, Enzo, for explaining that we are not going to see the end of the world thanks to the hole in the sun.
Not yet.
Not yet. May all the missing people be found sooner than later, and I'll keep you updated on that. But I've still got my theory. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. And I'll talk to you all very soon, hopefully sooner than later. Have a great weekend. Lots of love. Bye.